This scene clearly caught everyone off guard. They had fully expected a proper businessman like me to beg for mercy, to haggle over sunk costs, and to fold like a small-time retail investor caught in a Wall Street stranglehold, eventually caving to that preposterous price of $5 a pound. After all, in their minds, who would be crazy enough to let the tens of thousands invested in roads and equipment just go down the drain? Jason, realizing his leverage had vanished, charged toward me in a fit of impotent rage. Shoving a finger right in my face, he barked,
"Mr. Smith, you listen to me. If you dare to pull these trucks out of here today, you can come back on your knees with a signed blank check, and we won't sell you a single drop of honey from this valley. Not one drop."
I stopped in my tracks and turned around, looking at him as if he were nothing more than a pathetic court jester.
Listen up, all of you. Mark the words you've spoken today while breaking this contract. Whether it was I who lacked business ethics, or you who lacked the sanctity of contract, both the courts and God are watching.
Don't you dare try to hide behind God and lawyers to intimidate us. This is a free market, and we're just defending our rights against a black-hearted capitalist like you.
Fine. Since you're also convinced you can move this on a live stream for $10, then I wish you a goddamn fortune. That kind of windfall profit is far too rich for a modest balance shit like Smith's. I'll leave it all to you. May you enjoy every cent of it after the IRS is done with you.
With that, I climbed into the Lincoln Navigator without a backward glance. The moment the fleet vanished from the valley road, a roar of unprecedented cheering erupted from the farm behind us. I had barely cleared the scene when Jason scrambled onto the bed of the farmer's cooperative pickup truck. His face flashed with the adrenaline of a temporary king.
"Look at that, folks. Did you see that? So they are paper tigers in tailored suits. He is running scared because he knows he can't squeeze another dime of blood and sweat out of blue-collar workers like us anymore. Today, we won."
Damn, Jason, you're the real deal. You actually cursed a big-time CEO right out of town.
Exactly. Why should our premium, raw, organic honey be bought out like some cheap bulk commodity?
Listen to Jason. Let's go live. Do the whole e-commerce thing. We'll sell it for $8. No, $10.
That noon, this conservative farming community celebrated as if it were Thanksgiving. They were intoxicated by the thrill of having conquered the corporate giant, completely unaware that they had just severed the only umbilical cord connecting their secluded valley to the modern global supply chain. They thought they were driving away a greedy, blood-sucking wolf. Little did they know, they were chasing off the only person willing to offer them interest-free loans and a commercial safety net in the middle of a blizzard. Back at our Seattle headquarters, I instructed the CFO to deposit the $200,000 in cash and cashier's checks back into our Wells Fargo corporate account.
Mr. Smith, we've invested $50,000 in road construction for this project, plus the prepayments for cold chain logistics and the costs of the smart beehives. It all adds up to nearly $100,000. How should we handle this bad debt?
Just consider it a tuition fee for risk management. Also, notify the legal department. Prepare to file lawsuits in the local court against every farmer who breached the contract. I know the chance of actually recovering the money is slim, but I want those default records permanently branded on their SSNS and Equifax credit reports.
Understood. But what about a raw honey supply gap for next quarter?
Get in touch with the commercial farms in California's Central Valley. The procurement costs might be higher, but their commercial scale production is more than enough to cover our needs. I don't mind a 10% drop in gross margin, but under no circumstances will we compromise our brand's supply chain integrity.
After finishing the arrangements, I opened my iPad to find that Jason had already registered a TikTok account under the handle Valley Pristine Jason. He had just posted a short video with the caption, "Business school graduate rejects Wall Street, returns home to share the pure taste of the Rockies. Say goodbye to corporate middlemen. First ever livestream sales starting tonight." When I clicked into the livestream, there were already 200 or 300 viewers online. He was standing in front of Aunt Martha's barn, framed by dozens of those FDA-compliant blue polyethylene drums I had provided. The lighting was dim, and the picture was grainy due to the valley's poor network. There was Jason, clad in a cheap, ill-fitting suit, screaming promotional slogans at his phone camera with everything he had.
"Look at this, folks. This is 100% pure, raw, additive-free mountain honey. Today, Jason is giving back to the fans. Forget the $15 you pay at an organic supermarket. Forget $12 today. It's just $8.80 per pound. And that is free shipping nationwide. Delivered straight to your porch.
He held a stainless steel measuring spoon, the very one I had custom ordered for laboratory sampling, and scooped up a dollop of honey, tilting it before the camera to showcase the long, golden ribbons of its viscid flour.
Look at this color. Look at this viscosity. If you're a bro who knows real or natural food, spam one in the comments right now.
And Martha and a few redneck neighbors stood in the background acting as human backdrops, their smiles stiff and frozen. They held up pieces of cardboard scavenged from who knows where, with 100% organic scrawled across them in jagged, crooked permanent marker. I glanced at the scrolling comment section.
$8.80 a pound. That's way too expensive. I can get a huge jar at Walmart for just $4.
Do you even know what you're talking about? Person above. This is raw, organic honey. The stuff they sell at Walmart is just industrial corn syrup.
Does the host have an FDA food business license? And where is the USDA organic certification seal?
Are you shipping via UPS or FedEx? And what's the shatterproof packaging like?
Listen, we are a direct-to-consumer family farm. We protected under USDA exemption clauses, so we don't need those tedious permits required for big corporations. Plus, it has free shipping nationwide, and it's absolutely safe.
I turned off the live stream and let out a cold laugh. Ignorance truly is bliss, or, in their case, a death sentence. They actually believe that e-commerce is as simple as shouting at an iPhone and watching the money roll into a PayPal account. What they don't understand is just how high the cost to consumer trust is when you lack the endorsement of a reputable brand and the weight of official certifications. They have even less of a clue about the physics of the product. Honey is a high-density liquid, and the damage rate during the brutal sorting process of express couriers is absolutely terrifying. Without professional shock-absorbing air columns and custom-molded styrofoam boxes, you're looking at a 5 out of 10 breakage rate for every shipment. Most lethal of all is the fact that they haven't passed a single health department food safety inspection. Small-scale, homegrown sales might be tolerated at local farmers markets in certain states, but the moment you hit a national e-commerce platform, you're dead meat. Once those professional consumer rights attorneys smell blood, it's not just a setback, it's a catastrophic disaster that will leave them penniless. Moreover, Jason set a quasi-luxury price of $8.80 per pound. At that price point, American middle-class consumers have incredibly high expectations for sterile packaging, customer service, and shipping speed. They're using the most primitive, cheap plastic jars, but expect to sell the premium feel at Whole Foods. It's a total pipe dream. Sure enough, the cracks began to show sooner than expected. On the first day of the livestream, leaning heavily on the gimmick of a B-school elite returning home to fight big corporate and leveraging private traffic from Facebook circles, they actually managed to move a few hundred orders, and Martha and the neighbors were over the moon. They spent the entire night decanting the honey into recycled water bottles and old jam jars. Then, they simply stuffed some scrap newspaper in as padding, tossed them into cardboard boxes, and handed them over to the post office. Even for the slowest media mail or ground shipping, the postage alone ate up $1.50 per order. Jason's initial promise of doubling their profits had already begun to shrink after deducting the exorbitant per-item shipping costs and packaging materials. Still, at $8.80 a pop, they were netting over $7 after taxes and fees significantly higher than the $3.80 I had offered. The farmers were absolutely invigorated. They even started a thread on the local community forum, openly marking me as the failed CER. However, the honeymoon period didn't last. A few days later, as the first wave of shipments landed on doorsteps across the country, the disaster began.
Jason, what the hell is going on? My phone hasn't stopped buzzing for a second. It's nothing but angry emails and hate-filled texts.
Jason was sprawled in the cab of his pickup, lost in a daydream where he was ringing the opening bell of NASDAQ. He irritably snatched the phone. But the moment he glanced at the screen, the color drained from his face. The Shopify dashboard was a sea of crimson flooded with credit card chargebacks and scathing one-star reviews. One customer complained the packaging looked like literal trash, with honey leaking out and soaking the entire box. Another questioned the hygiene standards of the product, and one even threatened to report them to the local health department. Jason was scrambling, his fingers flying across the screen as he tried to pump out desperate emails of explanation.
Dear valued customer, that was simply an unfortunate accident during ops transit. You see, truly raw, fresh honey naturally ferments, which is exactly why it carries that distinct, slightly sour tang.
But his excuses fell on deaf ears. The payment gateway took one look at the data and swung aside. Due to an astronomical chargeback rate and his utter inability to produce food circulation permits or lab certificates, Jason's e-commerce account was permanently banned, and the funds on his linked bank card were frozen in their entirety. Yet, the real nightmare was just beginning. Customers who received leaking parcels weren't just demanding refunds for the honey. They were filing claims for collateral damage, demanding compensation for ruined Persian rugs and expensive hardwood floors stained by the fermented, sticky mess. In just 1 week, the collapse was total. Out of the 300+ orders shipped, the return and chargeback rate soared to a staggering 90%. The remaining 10% only stayed sold because the customers couldn't be bothered with the return process. Instead, they bypassed Jason entirely and filed formal complaints with the Better Business Bureau. And Martha stood in the middle of the barn, staring at the mountain of returned parcels sent back by the post office. They were sticky, oozing mess, swarming with flies and smelling of fermentation. When she saw the crimson account frozen notification on Jason's phone, the last of her strength vanished. She collapsed onto a high bed, slapping her thighs in despair, and began to wail.
My God, what are we going to do? We've sunk thousands of dollars into shipping costs alone and haven't seen a single cent in profit, and now we're facing consumer lawsuits. This doesn't follow any business logic. This isn't what the marketing gurus on YouTube taught us.
Jason sat huddled in the corner of the barn, drenched in a cold sweat. Gone was the swagger he displayed just weeks ago, when he stood proudly on the bed of his pickup truck, railing against the Wall Street capitalists with such fiery conviction. Worst of all, because they used unpasteurized recycled containers, and the Colorado temperatures began to climb. That once premium honey, deprived of professional sealing and sterilization equipment, started to silently ferment and expand inside the plastic drums. The air, which should have been filled with the sweet, mellow scent of pine and wildflowers, began to sour with the faint, rolling stench of cheap, style beer. The account ban and the frozen funds hit the community like a bucket of ice water straight from the Rockies, instantly extinguishing the feverish delusions of the farming collective. Inside the wooden hall of the Community Mutual Aid Association, Jason stood before a crowd of farmers, men and women waving stacks of return invoices, frantic as ants on a hot skillet. Even then, he remained stubbornly defiant, his pride the only thing not yet bankrupt.
Don't panic, everyone. Those Silicon Valley platforms only banned us because they are being lobbied by big corporations. They are jealous of our traffic. If one door closes, another opens. We don't redirect to consumer internet sales. We ever go straight to the traditional agri-food wholesalers. This is top tier. On natural honey we were talking about, the moment word gets out, we ever have procurement managers fighting over us.
Jason, is this B-School strategy of yours even legit? We've already maxed out our credit cards to cover thousands of dollars in shipping costs. We literally can't afford another one of your bold moves.
Don't you worry, uncles. I am getting on LinkedIn right now to message them directly.
Jason pulled out his iPhone and, right there in front of the entire town, started dialing the numbers of agricultural supply chain companies he'd scraped off the web. What he didn't realize was that on the very second day after I left the valley, I'd already posted an objective summary of the massive breach of contract at this farm in a private group for top executives of the National Agricultural Supply Chain Association. In the world of bulk agricultural commodities, the one thing sourcing managers fear most is an upstream farm with zero contractual integrity. As a result, when Jason's calls finally went through, the reaction from every single procurement manager was eerily identical.
Hello, Is this Director Steven? I am calling because I have a batch of premium, raw, organic honey from the heart of the Rockies.
The Rockies? Are you calling from the Valley Farm under Mayor Miller's jurisdiction?
Yes, exactly. You're familiar with our production area. That is fantastic.
Wait, you're the lot who pulled the breach of contract on Mr. Smith. You've got some nerve. You actually had the guts to tear up a legal contract with Smith's company. I'm not touching that mess with a 10-foot pole. I'm actually looking to partner with Mr. Smith's distribution channels myself. Jason's face drained of color, turning a sickly shade of gray. He forced a strained, hollow smile, looking around at the circle of weary farmers as he gestured dismissively at the phone. Just a fluke, he stammered, his voice cracking. Let's just try a different company. There are plenty of fish in the sea.
Manager David, your company is looking to buy honey in bulk, right? We have 30,000 pounds ready for immediate pickup.
What's your asking price?
The original retail price was $8, but I can give you a B2B wholesale discount of $6.
$6? Are you even awake yet? Smith offered you $3.80, and you had the nerve to tear up the contract right in his face. Now you're looking for a sucker to bail you out. The best I can do is $2. Take it or leave it.
$2. Why don't you just go rob a Federal Reserve Bank instead?
Then you might as well keep it all for yourself, smear it on your own toast, and take your sweet time eating it.
Jason went through over a dozen calls in a row, which was a brutal sequence of slammed receivers, cold scarfs at the mention of Miller Valley, and even one hot-tempered beer who went off on them, calling them contract-breaking rednecks with zero integrity. The absolute breaking point, however, came when a farm owner who specializes in buying subpar agricultural waste for industrial feed additives actually picked up. He let out a booming laugh over the speaker and said,
I heard you chased off Smith's fleet. Well done. But let's be real. Honey's reputation in this industry is already rotting. I'm willing to take it off your hands, but only at $1 per pound. I don't give a damn about your lack of business integrity. After all, I'm just buying it to mix into hog feed.
Jason scrambled to hang up the phone, his fingers fumbling with the screen, as if trying to physically choke off the sound of that mocking laughter. An agonizing, deadly silence instantly smothered the small wooden cabin of the Community Mutual Aid Association.
Jason, so this is what you meant by people will be fighting over it to turn it into hog feed.
You absolute idiot. Your little bit of MBA knowledge is going to drive this entire town into bankruptcy.
Uncles, listen to me. You can't blame me for how the market works. This is all Smith it has to be. He is using his capital to monopolize the industry. He is blacklisting us across the entire country.
Smith gave us $3.80 in black and white, but you refused to sell. You insisted on that direct-to-consumer nonsense for $10. Now look at us, the hog feed guy is offering $1. Who is going to pay back the shipping costs on my credit card now?
My family is out $500 in FedEx fees, and we haven't seen a single cent of profit.
That's right, reimburse us. And those 2 barrels of honey from my place. Because I followed your stupid online bottling method, the whole lot fermented and spoiled.
The farmer snapped instantly. The business school golden boy, once held on a pedestal, was now nothing more than a Wall Street fraud to be hunted down. Jason was jostled and shoved back and forth by the enraged rednecks until he was stumbling off balance, his once perfectly slick back hair now a tangled bird's nest. Click to subscribe for more exciting content.